This week, Rob and Lori are going to be talking about Black Hills climbing. Rob and Lori have been leading Black Hills climbing trips for many years, and it expanded from just climbing to biking and hiking and caving. And they've coordinated this trip each year in September. They did it for like 11 years, and they've had hundreds of people participate. And so I've been pestering them, and they put together slides from a number of these trips, sort of an amalgamation of all of the various trips that they've been on. Rob and Lori, many of you know, been Rover members for many years, and both got involved with the group after an invitation to climb with the Rovers. And they do a lot of climbing, but they also do a lot of other Rover activities as well. So I'm going to turn it over to Rob and Lori.
Hi, I'm Lori. I am going to stay on and look at the chat while Rob does the actual presentation. And if you have any questions during, I can stop him and let's see about the questions and have him answer, or I will answer.
Okay, I take it that's my cue. So yeah, we're going to do it a little bit differently. In terms of if anyone, we've usually held the questions till the end, but in this case, either put it in chat and Lori will let me know and interrupt, or you can just unmute yourself and ask a question. If it seems to be getting out of hand and too many questions, then we'll maybe put an end to that, but I wanted to experiment and see how this goes. Black Hills Rock Climbing Plus, because we do other things while we're out in the Black Hills. And I want to give you a little primer on the types of rock climbing that Lori and I do and the kinds that'll be featured in this video. The three types are top roping, sport climbing, and traditional or trad climbing. So quickly, top roping, and you can see my cursor all right? Good, okay. So top roping is where there's a belay person holding the rope. It comes up to the top in top roping, where there's an anchor set up, and then goes down to the climber. These ropes are a little bit stretchy, not like a bungee cord stretchy, but a little bit stretchy. So if the climber were to take a fall, they would go down a few feet and kind of bunge a little bit, if that's a word. So it's to prevent shock. If you would get, if it was a non-static rope, you'd get a real jarring when you fell. So the next kind of thing is called sport climbing. And rather than have a rope go up to the top and back, instead, the climber climbs with the rope trailing from them. And as they climb up, they hook it into these little eye hooks. The next slide will have a better picture of them, a closer one. But the climber will climb up to this point, put a carabiner in here, put the rope in the carabiner, and then they'll be safe to that point. Then they climb up to the next one, do the same thing, carabiner, put a rope in, and then they're safe to that point, and do that up to the top. So here's the two clips on this side, two eye hooks. This is what they look like up close. The ones on the wall don't have these two rings, but as you're climbing up, you'll have a single bolt and an eye hook like that. This is the setup at the top of most sport climbs. There'll be two bolts.
Rob,
And yeah.
We have a question. How do you get the rope up to the top in top roping?
So generally top roping, you can either walk up to the top, like at Taylor's Falls, you just take a path and set up the anchors, or in this case, because we're top roping this next, somebody sport led up to this point, and then took the rope and put it through the two rings. We have the rings because they're rounded and they're less abrasive on the rope than these eye hooks would be. So now this one is actually set up for top rope. So good question. So, and then the next kind of climbing that we would be apt to do is called trad climbing. So rather than have those eye hooks pre-placed in the wall, you'd find a crack like this or something. This one isn't real friendly for it. And stuff some kind of piece of gear in there that would fit. All of these are tapered and they're designed so that the harder you pull, the tighter they get. Kind of like, I call them Chinese handcuffs, but I forget what they're.
Finger cuff.
Chinese finger lock, yeah. So the harder you pull on them, they try to expand, and then so they get tighter. So that's trad leading. You climb up to a certain point, try to find a place to stuff one of these in, hook a beaner to that, and then hook your rope to the beaner, and then you're safe till that point. So the other thing that's usually needed is guidebooks, and guidebooks for certain areas will show a few things. Basically, it gives credit to whoever did the first ascent, or the first recorded ascent anyway, and description of the climb, and then the difficulty rating. So this is a little close-up of this one. And this is out in the Black Hills where we did. This is climb number 33. It's called Camp's Crack, AKA Classic Crack. And so Bob Camp and Mark and Beverly Powell on August 5th, 1965 were the first ones to go up that. Now the description here, popular handcraft with face features on northwest something side. So very vague. And one of the problems is getting off route and going the wrong way. And I've done that several times, and it's cost me some dirty underwear sometimes. We'll say it that way. So the last bit of information is the difficulty rating. All of this climbing is class 5, so it all starts with a 5. And then the difficulty is after the point. So 5.7, pretty much most people can do. 5.8, you start to winnow out the crowd. 5.9 more. The scale went up to a maximum of 510 at one point. You can see there's a 511A, but people found climbs that were harder than a 510, so they started doing 11s. And currently the scale goes up to 515, which I believe is climbing on glass upside down with no finger holds. I don't know. Impossible. So first thing we do is warm up with some sport climbs and leads. So I'm going to flash through a couple of these. This is Molly Lon climbing up a 510. It's a very difficult one, and she is at the most difficult part of the climb right now. This is what we call the Crux. And she's down below the Crux and working on it again and again. She seems to have made it. And now she's at the easier part, and she's made it. And of course, the fan club sits below going, I could do that, I could do that, and smiling at her victory. Everyone is really supportive of each other on climbs. This slide also features an advertisement for REI. So now Julie is attempting her very first sport climb out in the Black Hills. Julie's with us tonight, right, Julie? I know she is. Anyway.
Yes, hello.
Hey, cool. So this is your very first climb, right? Very first trad climb or sport climb?
Yes, that was my first sport climb.
Okay, so and Lori is kindly pointing out where to go. It's generally in the up direction. So a couple slides of that. She's hooking in, you see in this picture, she's putting in a carabiner in that first eyelet. And now I'm at top. I was able to walk up to the top of this one off a different ramp and watch her do this. And she progresses further and reaches the top with a high five to nobody. To all of us, I mean. So then she set up and she belayed from the top. She's now belaying off this short rope, and it goes all the way down to Lori. So if Lori falls, Julie here will catch her. And then Lori gets to the top. And now they set up for a rappel. And I just have a pet peeve. I'll point out rappel is R-A-P, not R-E-P. Repel is what you want your raincoat to do to water. Rappel is what you do to get down mountains. So, day of climbing and warm-up climbing. Now we hit the campsite. Stockade Lake Group Camp area is our favorite place to go when we get it booked, and you'll see why shortly. They have this giant pavilion. There's like 8 or 10 tables out there, a couple of nice vaulted biffies. And the next picture shows the area that's going to be just beyond here. And that's a couple of fire rings. Some people will cook on this one, and we generally do the, campfire and tell about our climbing tales at the other one at night. Inside that pavilion, the real only hazard is squirrels and mice and raccoons. So we've learned to hang our food or put our coolers and stuff up in the rafters. This is mine and Lori's tent site, our usual setup. We put up an awning in case it's raining and we can sit outside and check it out. There's a tent back up here, a bike, obviously, a couple more tents. And now pay attention to this tent for the next slide. You see they have a beautiful view of Stockade Lake, and then you'll see the other angle. That tent is in the foreground. Nice flat places. A lot of pine needles, so it's really nice setting up tents there. Don't have to be too close to anyone, and you always get a view of the lake from pretty much anyone. So now, back to climbing, we're going to go to Cathedral Spires and do some trad or traditional climbing. This is a picture of the Cathedral Spires from afar, and they've named them cleverly Spires 1, 2, 3, and 4, which took a lot of imagination. This one is the one that we're about to watch some slides of climbing that one, Spire 4, and it is the highest climbable peak out in that area. Now I'm giving you a little primer on multi-pitch climbing. I'm just going to read this aloud, and hopefully you're not bored. Climbs that are taller than the length of your rope, thereby requiring one or more belay stations to be built. Climbing ropes are typically 60 or 70 meters, which is 195 or 230 feet long. And we set up belay stations when we near the full length of our rope, or where we find a suitable shelf to belay from. In other words, a good place to sit or whatever. And so the lead climber will climb up to this station, set up some anchors, and then we'll belay the next party members up to that level. Now, the next person to climb is known as the second or the follower. And while climbing, the second will gather all the gear that the lead climber put into the rocks, the little wedgies and all that kind of stuff, gather them up on that person's way up and return them to the lead climber. Or the second may keep all of that gear and prepare to lead the next pitch. So each section that you do is called a pitch. Now, the very last person to climb up ties into the end of the belay rope and disassembles any anchors or anything that's left over, and grab the water bottle that I forgot down there and stuff and bring that up with them. So I hope that's fairly clear, and hope that wasn't too many words. So I just added this link, and I hope it's going to work. This is a short video of climbing Spire 4. Let's hope it works. And last time it took a minute to load. Hopefully not technically a full minute. Okay.
Try it again, just in case you didn't click it well enough.
It's working on my end.
Oh, we're not seeing it.
No one's seeing it?
Nope.
Well, that's a true bummer. Then I'm gonna have to do it the other way that I know how to do it.
Unless it was midnight, no stars were out.
Nope. You couldn't hear it either, I assume.
Right.
No.
Correct.
All right. This takes a couple of steps. I have to stop sharing and share in a different way.
No worries. It's okay.
Thank you.
We can talk quietly amongst ourselves.
Yeah, talk about me.
All right, go refresh your beverage, everybody.
So this climb behind me, that little dot there, that's me climbing in the Black Hills.
Very cool. This is Melissa. Cool.
Yeah.
You look like an insect that could be swooped on by a bird to be eaten.
Okay,
Right.
Okay.
advanced. Oh my God. There it is.
You forgot.
All right, can you see that one?
Yep.
Woohoo.
Yep, you got it. Good
Okay.
job.
Okay, here we
So
go.
where
Thank you for the
gals are right
encouragement.
there.
Sure.
I climbed up this crack kind of right.
It's the
between
least
the
I can do since I'm
sunshine
terrified to go
and the
climbing.
shadow. All that line up. Past my leg. I'm up here. Hold on. And I set up my belay station.
Okay, so I'll just stop here briefly. This is what you find at the top of a lot of the leads. I have these two eye hooks and I hook into the top points. So when someone else follows me up, they can hook into one of the links of the chain.
Rob, is this
Okay,
a single?
this is a multi-pitch. Oh, hopefully I do this right. Now I go back to basic. Okay. And I passed that. All right. Pass that too.
All the way down to the black video screen.
Right on. Thanks. I encourage everyone to get buried, then they can tell you what you're doing wrong. This is great. Okay, so on with the show. Oops. Okay, so this is that same setup that you saw in the video. And in this case, I got off this and Molly got on it. She set up to belay the other people from down below, and I'm sitting around on flat rocks making wise comments. And here she is doing, this is called a hanging belay. And
I have another question as soon as you're done with
Sure.
this piece.
Go ahead.
When you're doing multi-pitch, do you belay back down using the same stations or do you walk down a ramp?
There's most often not a ramp. If there is, definitely take it. And sometimes it calls for going back down the same way. Very often it's off a different part. Usually a straight flat thing so that you can put all your weight into the rope. So I see like a berth, someone is crowning here that I don't know that whose orange helmet that is. And next up comes Cynthia. See all the gear she's got with her. And so the five of us are all at the top of the first pitch, which is a big flat rock. And so we can actually do this without having any ropes on. The next thing we're going to do is Cynthia is going to lead up this way.
And now I'm going to answer another question.
Okay.
Were the anchors already there? And yes, they are. The sport climbing is set up already.
So
with
are the
those high
anchors for the trad climbing. Oh, don't have it. Well, yeah, those two anchors are right in that wall there when you saw at the end of the video. So, okay, so Cynthia, you can see the rope coming up here. She led up this way. She put a big rope around here to save her. And now she has to do the most harrowing part of this climb, and that's step over this 70-foot gully, which it's not a huge step over. If it was 2 feet off the ground, you just jump it and laugh. But when there's the potential of bouncing off these rugged rocks and maybe not even surviving, it gets a little scarier. And Cynthia's doing this for the first time. She put her hands over. She's still thinking about it. She put a foot over and boom, she made it. and has set up a belay station there to bring the next people across.
Okay, we have a couple more questions. How
Okay,
do you know that the preset anchors are strong enough to hold you? Do you want to answer?
I'm going to say faith, and you do take a look at them. Some of them are rusty, some of them come out, and areas that are well climbed like this one, people will report it to, I mean, there's a climbing school and other people here in the Black Hills in Hill City. And they'll go, okay, thanks. And they'll come out and take a look at it because they do eventually rust out sometimes, although most of them are galvanized these days, but the old ones, and you can tell, I mean, it's rusty. And if it's swinging around, you're like, I'm not putting my life on that. On the other hand, sometimes you get there and like, well, I either trust my life to this or I fall. So I'm going to trust my life to this.
Or
So-
as we did at one time, I know we show the chicken head, the big one,
Oh,
that big
So
thing that Cynthia had tied a rope around. That's called a chicken head. If it's smaller, usually there's a smaller one sticking out of a rock, and you can tie either your rope or a webbing around it, and you can rappel off of that, and either leave it or do it in a way that you can save it. But there's a few different ways you can do it. Then we have a few other questions here. Does anyone go check them periodically? Yes, he did answer that already. And how do you know that the precinct? Okay. Could we see Cynthia cross the crevice again?
for
Thanks, you
$2.
just showed it. There it is.
right there.
All right.
Okay, then. And so now she's belaying. Now I'm behind Cynthia taking this picture. I'm probably sitting right up on that rock. And she's belaying the next person across. I'm making smart aleck comments. And this is Alita contemplating doing the step over. Here's that chicken head with the rope around it. And she must have made it. Now Lori's contemplating, laughing, does the lean over, and now she's there. So now I have to do the top out of this one. Stop share. Ooh, see if I remember how to do this. Just did it a minute ago, didn't I?
Yep.
So I must be good at it.
The advanced.
Oops, 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 oops. Okay. Yeah, share screen again. Oops. Are we seeing it?
Yes.
Oh my God, that's just beautiful.
Oh, but we're not hearing it. That's okay.
Well, I am. Really, is nobody hearing this?
No, no. That's very
Volume's
odd.
100%. I don't know what to do about it.
Yeah. The last one did.
So that's Cynthia saying, first trad lead ever, let's go get a beer. And this is me.
And yes, it is beautiful, whoever said that. That's the tallest spire in the Black Hills, so you can literally see everything. Harney's Peak, which is Black Elk's Peak now, and Cathedral Spires. It's gorgeous.
Okay. So, oops. I'll point out now, So at the top of this climb, this is one of those Army ammo boxes in which there are notes, notepads and pens, and it's a guest register, you might say. So there's a better look at one of them at a different thing. And by the way, you do bang your knees sometimes. And here are some of the entries that we found up there. I'm just going to read them out loud for people. September 6th of 2015, classic crack. Lead Ryan Somers, followers Anton Rohan and Lori Chase. Totally effing crack. And Ryan plays some awesome pro by Lori Chase. First crack climb, Ryan and Lori. What a great climb, Rohan. Here's another entry. Now, if people remember from like a month or two ago, Allison Young was one of the people that gave a presentation on a hike she took on the PC Pacific Crest Trail, I believe it was. And we found her entry up here. She wasn't up there with us at this time. This is Allison Young saying, "Hoot, you guys, this is freaking me out." This person we don't know. Here's a few entries. Pat Elliott, the one who just led that winter trip that got reported on at the beginning of the meeting, up here on 9/16 of 2015. Best crack climb I have done yet. It is a beautiful day. God is good all the time. And John Faley, who was along on this. Minnesota Rovers, so glad to be here. Wonderful climb. And Brian Paulson, also with our party. Second attempt on classic crack. First one didn't work. And I'll just explain, he used the guidebook and started up the wrong climb and found out at the end that it wasn't classic crack. And last entry, this is one we found. This one written, I believe, by Molly, 9/12/2018. Yay for the Minnesota Rovers. Rob Chase led, Molly Lon, Everett Belay, and then another climb by Carl Schaefer led, Alita Winterheimer, and Jim Peterson and Lori Chase. TIFA comes from the song by Macklemore called Thrift Shop, and it stands for This is Effing Awesome. So that got to be a theme for us for a while. So now
I have another question. What kind of rock are the spires made from?
right, there's some kind of an amalgamation. I don't really know, but I know this much. It'll cut you up. It's grand. It's a slurry, and I'll try to point that out later on in some pictures that show it more closely.
But the wonderful thing about it is your shoes stick to it, so you can do some pretty, what looks like really, really, really hard climbs, but you can stick to the wall easier.
So for a few years, I've aspired to doing this climb, the Con Diagonal, or known as Con's Traverse. And this one, this time, was done by Ryan, Molly, and Alita. But this is really tall, and it starts from down below these trees, follows this crack line up through here. And then this is called the Kidney Stone. And you go up through here, up through here, up here. And then at this point, you have a choice of climbing this chimney, which is wider than a person. So it's kind of strange, but you can't get any gear in there. So you climb this 30 or 40 feet without any protection. Otherwise, you can do this, but it's rated more difficult. Anyway, we'll show you some stuff on that. So here's Alita, and that's Ryan leading. And when Ryan led, he belays two people at once. So after he gets to the first belay station, he'll be belaying both Alita and Molly's helmet. So there he goes up there. Molly's getting ready. Alita is belaying him right now. And Alita's following up. And up. And up they go. And you can see this is Ryan at the first belay station. He's got a rope going to her and a rope going to her. Just bringing them in as they climb. A little far away picture, same thing. Ryan, Molly's passed up Alita in apparently what was a race. And there they are again. And now they seem to have all arrived at the Belay station. They're happy, their hands are off, they're not climbing, and they're about to pound their water. And this is a more accurate view. This is 10 times zoom or something. Now this one is going over the back. Somebody had asked a question about coming down the same way. You do not come down the same way on this. You get to the top of it, walk to the far side, and come off the back, which is much straighter. And so I believe this is Alita starting to rappel down this. And she's made it to this level. I think it might be a 2-part rappel.
Yes, that one is.
So we've done a day of climbing and it's time to do some other stuff around here. So we'll take a hike and we'll see some wildlife. Black Elk Wilderness and Black Hills National Forest. This is, well, never mind. So about a dozen of us decided to hike up to the top of Harney Peak. About 10 of us were very seasoned rovers, and there was one brand new person. That's Laura Schurman at the time. And out of all of us, none of us, other than the brand new person and Ron, who she came with, had raincoats. So this picture is taken from underneath a rock where I hid away with everyone else, because as you can see in the next picture, you're not looking at albino bunny poop. This is hail, and it got plenty cold. So that's the way it was. And we had fun with it. And of course, they're laughing. They're not laughing with us. They're laughing at us in this case. And there's Ron and Laura again after it dried up a little bit. Here's me and Lori, except for that Lori went off to Little Devil's Tower. It's always the devil that gets in the way. I'm kissing her anyway. So here is the top of what the plaque still calls Harney Lookout. And I'll just point out that the elevation of 2207 meters or 7242 feet. This peak is the highest point east of the Rocky Mountains and west of the Pyrenees Mountains of Europe. And I knew this was coming up, so we're going to try this again. I hope I do this right again. Oh no. Not doing it right.
So while you were doing that, Melissa asked if you can stem when you were doing the con diagonal. And there are some places where you can stem, like that ramp that was going up. It was really a flake, so you can get in between the hard granite and the hill and that flake, and you can stem in between.
Okay.
Stemming is putting 1 foot on one wall and 1 foot on another, or one hand or on one wall and the other. So that's what stemming means.
Let's forget to go to the advanced thing.
I thought I was eating up this time.
Or I just did it wrong.
That's okay.
Okay, can people see a picture of 2 people in rocks?
Yes.
All right.
Somebody said you need to share the sound too, separate.
Yeah, I don't, oh, is there a,
There is, but it's working this time.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
working.
woo, I fixed it. Okay, now listen again, because I'm whispering in this. I'm trying to be a reporter.
This is rovers in their natural habitat.
Yeah, this stuff.
Some of them are skittish.
But there was a,
I
yeah,
don't think they know we're here.
pink quartz. Yeah.
This is the rovers in their natural habitat.
That's it, right? Yeah.
They're not.
So just having a little fun with that, because I looked down at those guys and it looked like I was looking at a pack of wild animals. So I thought, well, why not just treat them as such? And so I did.
No, it keeps going back to that one.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know much. Okay, so anyway, next slide. Continue from current slide. Oops. Okay, so on the hike down, this is Harney Peak up there, and we just hiked down whatever trail is there. So we're looking back at that. We also got a view again of the Cathedral Spires. Here's a critter. This is like 6 feet across, I believe. I can't remember the exact measurements. If you take it close up enough, they look big. Next biggest thing is they have this groundhog park. They're really fun to watch. Kids love them. And you can tell when they're alert. They all get up and do the same thing and warn each other that humans are coming again. Also saw some pronghorn deer, which I guess technically are not deer, but I don't really care. And we saw some wild donkeys. And there's another one. They come up and rub themselves on your rear view mirror and stuff. I'm going to save you on the video from that. And then the big beast feature of the area is the buffalo. And they are pretty much roaming free around here. The time of year we go is around just after Labor Day. And then shortly after we leave, they have the great buffalo roundup, which I don't know what they do, but round them up apparently. So I'm going to show you a big bull. Big buffalo. Advanced videos. I'm going to be good at this pretty soon.
Well, you should try the links again. Maybe it'll work
Yeah,
next time.
next time. Oops. Thanks for being so patient, you guys. Oh my God, where are you guys?
They are bison, not buffalo.
Okay then.
That's what someone just chatted.
Mhm.
Yeah, I don't know. I was actually toyed with that. I've lost everything.
Mm.
No, I got it. So
Was Harney crowded when you were there? Black Elk Peak? Rob, that's a question to you.
yeah, you answer it.
I wasn't there. I went to Little Devil's Tower.
All right. No, there was just a bunch of wild rovers.
Ah,
I'm going to go ahead and skip that video.
okay.
So I guess I'm not. This is a picture of one of the gangs that went up one of the years. These all
We're
happen to
not
be
seeing
climbing.
it. We're not seeing it.
Dang.
You gotta
Says I'm
reshare.
sharing. What the heck? My little bar keeps coming up. See it now? Ooh. All right, so this is one of the gangs that went up, and all these people happen to be climbers. You may recognize some of them. Oh my God. And back at the pavilion, everybody's cooking up dinners. This is a different year, and everybody's just cooking up their dinners. More of that. And next is Cons Diagonal with myself and Ryan Somers and Ed Mittman. So we did the same climb that you watched, Alita and Molly, and of course, Ryan led it again. I haven't had the guts to lead it yet. There's Ryan, I'm the third, the person coming up, and I managed to get my phone out and take this one picture for a second. I am going to have to show these two videos, and hopefully I will do it more successfully.
And while you do that, I'm gonna talk someone, Lisa, let us know that the annual roundup is to maintain a healthy sized herd population. So they have to cull some of the herd. And I'd have heard that before now that you say that.
Yeah, since they don't really have any natural predators, we need to do that for them. Yeah.
Yeah. That makes sense. Okay, we see
Yes,
the
I'm
video.
sharing.
Share the sound now if
Let's see if it is working.
okay.
Oops. Didn't mean to do that.
Are you trying to play it?
I'm trying to get rid of this screen. Oh, I'm so sorry, you guys. I've got myself lost again.
Barb asks, what shape do you need to be in to do this kind of climbing? Is the trip for experienced climbers or beginners? The Black Hills is actually a great place to bring beginners, and it's a great place for beginners to start climbing outdoors. For one, you do stick to the rock. There are a lot of places where the climbing is super easy, and that's where we take people, like the one that Julie did that we were showing. Everybody starts out there. That area is nice short climbs, all different ratings, so that everybody can have a good time there. And then there are very epic climbs like this one. I would not take a beginner on it. There's just too many chances of someone getting very hurt. So you would not be a beginner for here. So yeah, all levels. And Julie was just saying that this was her first time outdoors. And I think Rob did say that it was your first outdoor lead.
Yeah, and that was
great.
my very first time outdoors.
Yeah.
Yeah, in 2018. Yeah.
Hey, can you guys see a picture of a rock and a rope?
Yep.
All right, here's a video.
At Belay Station number 1.
And voice.
We got Ed clipping in. Ryan in the red helmet who brought us up. And the view. And the notorious crossover step. Right over there.
So this is the crazy part of this climb. We came from over here and went this way.
Oh,
And
we
as
can't
you
see
can
your
see-
cursor on this.
What? You can't see the cursor?
No.
Well, okay. Imagine climbing that in any fashion. And you hear me say at the end, it wasn't as bad as it looks, because that looks terrible. If I saw this picture and I said I had to go climb this, I don't think I'd do it, but we did it.
Not as bad as it looked.
Sorry, I'm going to bring you back. Stop. Going to bring you back just to show you something.
Not as bad as it looked.
Right there.
This feature right here is called Old Person's Dome, and you'll be seeing some slides or video later on of Lori climbing up this and disappearing from our view about there, and then you'll see
We can't see the
Lori
cursor.
and Jim Peterson and myself sitting on this little thing here. And
Honey, we can't
before-
see your cursor.
Oh, okay. Right. Sorry. Anyway, the big feature to the right of your screen is called Old People's Dome, and there's a video later where you will see us on that. Okay.
And Melissa, you were talking about arm strength or leg strength more important. I think leg strength is more important than anything. Arm strength for men go for the arm strength to get up some things because they can do that easier than women. Women think big muscles, and we go for the legs first. So beginners, usually women are better. And then as time goes on, men are better because they do both after a while.
Yeah, well, I'd say the first muscle to use is the brain, because that's what
Yeah.
happens. You learn later that, hey, I can do this an easy way. So this is the rappel off of the back of Con's diagonal again. Can you see my cursor now?
Yes.
Okay, so here's the ropes coming down. Alita has made it to this point. And I just took a few pictures of these rocks because look at the colors. I mean, we're just staring at this face and wrapping down it. And so you're sitting around waiting for the next person and enjoying this and taking pictures. So there's that old person's dome. We're looking across, and here's Lori, and this is Jim and myself up there. I don't know who sent us this picture recently, but they did. So we're all going to take a little break there. The rope, it wasn't long enough to get all the way to the top, so we have a belay station there, and then do this little jaunt right after that. All right, I've got 2 more little videos if I can do it, and then there'll be the last slide. So hopefully I can do this more successfully than last time. Advanced videos. Which one am I supposed to do now, Lori? Creeping senility, okay.
Yep. Ah,
Can you see this? Or
yep. Yep.
see this video? Okay. Get it up to full size. And we'll play this one. Okay, so it's September something or other. And Lori has mostly finished the 23rd. Lori has of 2014. Lori's just about finished leading creeping senility. So here's Jim belaying her. She went up, follow that blue rope. Notice the clip there. That's her first clip. That little black thing. And that black dot on the top of that thing is Lori's butt as she gets over the top. As she disappears, so will this video.
I see you smiling, Julie.
You know, I want to go do that now that we're watching it. So
Of course.
You have a new picture up here?
Yes.
Okay. And here's my view from the top of aging gracefully and creeping senility. We have a little more to go up there, but after a 130-foot climb that Lori led, this is the view we get. Oh yeah, we're up there with the gods. And speaking of gods, here's 2 of them, Jim and Lori.
Climbing god and goddess.
I don't know that I actually just took a measure.
Way back over there, if you can see the little black dot. You can't see my cursor again still?
Correct.
All right, well, sorry. Cynthia can be seen in this picture somewhere. She's a black dot on that shorter rock face to the right. That would be Cynthia Anderson. Dan is hiding. This is a view of the Con Diagonal, which goes up that diagonal pitch that you can see and follows that, traverses that crack, and then up one of those 2 cracks. You get your choice. Bonus! Okay, one last video for you. And here comes Lori back down from that climb.
And this is what's known as the end of the climb.
That's an official term. Haha.
It's a video.
So I'm rappelling down and we're using 2 ropes because it's too far to use one all the way up there. So we use 2 ropes tied together, and you have to remember which side to pull when you get down.
Otherwise, the
And
knots will get caught.
And also it's very heavy. That's why I'm going so slowly and keep bouncing the.
Right where she is right now, she's just at the tops of the trees. Probably 30, 40 feet up. Maybe 50. No, I went a different way. I'll show you.
So anyways, yeah, the rope is real heavy.
Do I want to come down on that side?
Yes.
Good dialogue coming up here.
Hi, Annie, I'm home.
Take a bow for your wonderful lead and finish. You started and ended. Love you.
Notice she's wearing a GoPro and we have no GoPro video of it. It's just adornments.
Actually, I was wondering if we did. We never looked there.
Good point. So, where'd my mouse go? Here's my final slide. I'll read it aloud for those who are on phone, although somebody's face is in the way. A place where one can still be an unworried and unregimented individual and wear any old clothes and sit on a log and get his or her sanity back again. By Badger Clark, South Dakota's first poet laureate. And this concludes this slideshow. So we will entertain questions at this point, and I don't know, maybe I'll leave the screen share up for a minute in case people want me to wheel back to one. So unmute yourself and speak up or send something in the chat, and Lori will catch the chat ones.
Rob, this is Melissa. I just want to say this was a great presentation and brought back good memories. I didn't climb with you guys, but it was fun to be out there.
Well, I'm very sorry that I did not get any good photos of the bike ride that we took out there
Yeah.
together. Didn't we?
Yeah, we did. And this
Yeah.
last spring, I did a end-to-end hike of the Centennial hiking trail that runs through some of Custer, some of Wind Cave, and then up to Bear Butte State Park in South Dakota. And it was, and I found out about it because I went with you guys to Custer on one of your climbing trips. It was fun. It was great.
Well, you're a great person to have on trips. I'll say that, Melissa.
Thank you,
Yes.
sir.
I have a question from Stacy. You said you tied 2 ropes together. How did you know they would not come apart? Yikes.
You gonna answer that or me?
Well, we do a water knot where you're tying 2 together. I can't even show you. You tie 2 ropes together, following each other. It won't come apart. You know it won't come apart.
Show me that knot sometime.
Pardon?
You'll have to show me that knot sometime.
Oh, sure.
How they tie them. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
You can look up water knot too. I mean, it's pretty easy, but yeah, I can
It's
show
just an
you.
overhead knot with a long tail. So
No, we don't
You can do
that
it
when we
either
do a
way.
water knot.
You can
Kinda
do
like
it
a
either
person.
way.
that's
can
called
tie
the
it that way,
European
too.
death knot. The European death knot. Yes.
Yeah, that's why we do it in America, because it's a safe knot here.
And then Lisa says Badger Clark was a phenomenal poet who had his own cabin in the Black Hills. Good to Google him. And Molly says, thank you so much, Rob and Lori. It makes me want to get out there again so much, like next week. And Margaret says, thank you, Rob and partner. Very informational and fun.
Oops. Well, if there are no other questions, we'll kick it back to Barry.
Well, I have one question. I get this the very first 2 minutes. What is exactly involved in leading? I mean, how do you get up there without a rope, or do you have a rope? Or I've never climbed, so I'm totally don't know anything about it. Yeah.
So if you're top roping, you get to basically walk up to the top and set up anchors and throw a rope down and then walk back down and then climb from them. If you're sport climbing, there are little bolts in the wall and you trail a rope with you. And when you get to one of those bolts, you put a beaner in it and put the rope in the beaner, and now you're safe till that point. And then you look up ahead for another bolt, which will be 10, 15, 20 feet ahead of that. And if you're trad climbing, there are no bolts in the wall. You have to take little, I don't know how well you can see these. These are just some of the many types of nuts that you can use. You wedge one of these into a crack somewhere, you find one that fits, you test it out a little bit, stick that in the wall. What is this? This is my yellow. This is my lucky one, lucky yellow. I'm not a yellow fan, but this thing has saved me a couple times. But you stick this in the wall and then stick a beaner in this and stick a rope in the beaner, and now you're safe till that point. Then you climb till the next good opportunity to put a nut in. We call these nuts. That answer your question?
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, good.
You're welcome.
Very entertaining. Yeah, thanks.
Thanks.
Any other questions? People are quiet. Well, thanks, Rob and Laurie, for the presentation.
Thanks for bearing with us and the foibles of the videos.